Hello guys, welcome to my channel. So in this video we are going to talk about the subject called mechanical technology, and here today we are going to discuss previous year ISRO paper, that is 2018 paper specifically, and in that we are going to discuss about questions regarding production technology. So this will be important with respect to your RTO exam preparation. So yes, let's get started. So the first question, number of atoms per unit cell of a face center cubic structure, that is lattice, is. So here the correct answer is answer C, that is 4. Here you can see for simple cubic structure, right, it is 1, right, the crystal lattice is 1. For BCC it is 2, for SCP it is 4, for FCC it is 4, for HCP it is 6. As you can see here, for BCC you can see here number of atom per unit cell, right, it is 2 atoms. For FCC the number of atoms per unit cell is 4, right, as you can see here number of atom per unit cell is 4. So next question guys, a material that exhibits the same elastic property in all direction at a point is called as. Here the correct answer is isotropic, right. So as you can see here, for isotropic material, consider this, right, this is point A and this is point B. So in this direction, if point A in this direction exhibits sigma x property, and if point B exhibits the same property in the same direction, that is isotropic material, right. So similarly, sigma y in y direction, sigma z in z direction. So for same for both point A and point B, same properties or in same direction, so it is a homogeneous material, right. So guys, the explanation is here. The homogeneous material is a material having same property in same direction at different points, that is homogeneous. Here you can see the homogeneous material, right, as earlier I was explaining about this point A and point B. So in S direction, sigma x property in both points, in y direction, sigma y property in both points, right. So this is how homogeneous material is. For isotropic material, which is the answer of this question, isotropic material, so it shows same property in all direction at one point, right. So this is a isotropic material, right, at one point same property in all direction, right, all direction same property. So and the next is homogeneous and isotropic material. So for homogeneous and isotropic material, the property is same at all points in all direction, right. Here you can see for point A and for point B, in all direction for point A and point B the properties are same, that is homogeneous plus isotropic material. And guys, we have another material called as anisotropic material. Anisotropic, as you can see here, anisotropic material. So this is point A, this is point B, so different properties in different direction at different points, that is anisotropic material, right. So moving on to the next question, a small percentage of boron is added to a steel in order to. Here options are increase endurance strength, reduce machinability, increase wear resistance, increase hardenability. So there is steel, and if we add small percentage of boron to it, so we get increased hardenability, right. So the correct answer is D. Remember, it is a very factual question, it is found out by doing the experiment, right. Which of the following carbon steel is most weldable? So here the options are 0.1% carbon steel, 0.3% carbon steel, 0.5% carbon steel, or 0.15% carbon steel. So for a steel, right, to be weldable, for a steel to be weldable, it should contain less percentage of carbon, right, less percentage of carbon. And in this option the correct answer is D, that is 0.15% of carbon steel is most weldable according to the given options, right. The lesser the percentage of carbon, it is more weldable, right? Lesser the percentage of carbon, the steel is more weldable. Now the next question, guys. So here you can see weldability in steel is most influenced by percentage of carbon, as more carbon in steel results in more hardened steel. Hardened steel doesn't possess good weldability properties. Low carbon steel, especially 0.15% by weight carbon steel, are better weldable, right? So the correct answer is D, 0.15%. Next question. The main objective of short pinning is to improve which property of metal parts, right? The options are fatigue strength, B ductility, C surface finish, D none of this. So here the correct answer is fatigue strength. So basically, what is the short pinning process? Short pinning is basically, it allows metal parts to accept higher loads and to endure a longer fatigue life in service without failure. In usual application, short pinning can be done without changing the parts design or its material. If you strike a part surface, right? What is short pinning? This is short pinning. If you strike a part surface with a round object at a velocity sufficient to leave an impression and continue until you completely cold work the entire surface, then you will have pinned that part. In modern usage, pinning is applied by throwing tiny cast steel balls. Remember guys, cast steel balls are shot at a high velocity, hence the term short pinning, right? Here you can see cast steel balls are getting shot at high velocity onto this workpiece material, and by this process we are getting a good fatigue strength and longer fatigue life, right? Now the next question. Which of the following has maximum value of thermal conductivity? The options are steel, copper, brass, aluminum. So this is also one of the factual question, guys. Here the correct answer would be copper. Maximum thermal conductivity. That's why copper is used in wires, electrical wires, right? So here you can see that copper has maximum value of thermal conductivity among these all options, right? Among these all options. So basically diamond has the maximum thermal conductivity, but diamond, silver are very costly, so we cannot use these into electric cables, right? Electric cables. That's why we used copper, because it is having low cost as compared to silver and diamond, but it has good value of thermal conductivity. So among these options, copper has maximum value of thermal conductivity. The correct answer is B. Next question. Which of the following is an amorphous material? Guys, for amorphous material, the correct answer, the options are mica, lead, rubber, glass. The correct answer is C, rubber as well as glass, right? As well as glass, amorphous material. So amorphous solids are any non-crystalline solid in which atoms and molecules are not organized in definite pattern, right? Such as solids are glass, plastic, rubber, gel. So the atoms are not in order, so it is for rubber and glass, right? Next question. In machining operation, cutting speed is reduced by 50%. Assuming n is equals to 0.5, c is equals to 300. In Taylor's equation, the increase in the tool life is, guys, you all know So we are going to solve this question. It is a numerical based question asked in ISRO 2018. Very important question, guys, and very easy question basically. So as you know, the Taylor's equation, basically it is known as Taylor's tool life equation, right? It is a tool life equation. So Taylor's tool life equation, V t raised to n is equals to c, where V is cutting speed, T is tool life, N is Taylor's exponent, and C is Taylor's constant. So guys, remember, this Taylor's exponent depends on tool material, and Taylor's constant depends on tool as well as workpiece material, right? So by the given condition, we can say that V t raised to n, we can write this equation as this, right? Now we will put the values. The speed is reduced by 50%, right? So 50% 0.5 V, t to the raised to power 0.5, this is for second, V t raised to 0.5, this is for first. By solving this equation, we get, sorry guys, so here we get T2 is equals to 4 times T1. So this is the answer. So here the correct answer will be B. The increase in the tool life is 4 times, right? So guys, I want to tell you something more important in this. That is, so I'll rub this, and I want to tell you something about value of n. N is Taylor's exponent, and it depends on tool material. Guys, basically this question about Taylor's exponent is asked in many examinations, right? So this becomes important point here. For high speed steel, the value of n ranges from 0.08 to 0.2, right? For carbide, the value of n ranges from 0.2 to 0.6, and for ceramic, the value of n ranges from 0.5 to 0.8. So here, as the value of n and c, that is Taylor's constant and Taylor's exponent, increases, so tool life increases. So it is in directly proportional to tool life. You can remember, n and c are directly proportional to tool life, right? This is very important, guys, asked in many examination. Basically about HSS, so value of HSS ranges from, right, 0.08 to 0.2 for Taylor's exponent. So next question, guys, the impact strength of a material is an index of its, option A, fatigue strength, B, tensile strength, C, hardness, D, toughness. So here the correct answer is, for impact strength, it is toughness. Yes, toughness. Here you can see, for ductile material, this is toughness graph, right? This is toughness graph for ductile material, and for brittle material, this graph, right? This is for brittle material. So toughness basically decides the impact strength, right? So here you can say the impact strength is the resistance of a material to fracture under sudden impact or shock. It is a measurement of toughness of the material. Now the next question, and this will be the last question of this mechanical technology for ISRO MCQ series. Which of the following order of the crystal structure will match with metal iron, nickel, titanium in that order at a room temperature? Guys, this is asking us at the room temperature the crystal structure of iron, nickel and titanium. So the correct answer here is D. For iron it is BCC, for nickel it is FCC, and for titanium it is SCP. So this was the last question, and thank you guys for listening in, and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.